Acts of the Apostles, Chapter 7, Lesson 8. In studying this chapter, 1. To review Stephen's defense to the charge of blasphemy against the temple and the law, and 2. To note the remarkable manner in which the first martyr for Christ died. The previous chapter ended with Stephen before the Sanhedrin Council, facing accusations that he spoke blasphemy against the temple and the law. Cf. 6:13 through 14. Chapter 7 contains Stephen's defense to these charges and the account of his martyrdom. Acts 7:1. The high priest said, "Are these things so?" Stephen responded by reviewing the call of Abraham and God's promise to him and the nation of Israel. Acts 7:2 through 4. He said, "Brothers and fathers, listen. The God of glory appeared to our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he lived in Haran, and said to him, 'Get out of your land and from your relatives, and come into a land which I will show you.' Then he came out of the land of the Chaldeans and lived in Haran. From there, when his father was dead, God moved him into this land where you are now living." Acts 7:5 through 7. He gave him no inheritance in it, no, not so much as to set his foot on. He promised that he would give it to him for a possession and to his seed after him, when he still had no child. God spoke in this way, that his seed would live as aliens in a strange land, and that they would be enslaved and mistreated for 400 years. "I will judge the nation to which they will be in bondage," said God, "and after that they will come out and serve me in this place." Acts 7:8 through 9. He gave him the covenant of the circumcision. So Abraham became the father of Isaac, and circumcised him the 8th day. Isaac became the father of Jacob, and Jacob became the father of the 12 patriarchs. The patriarchs, moved with jealousy against Joseph, sold him into Egypt. God was with him. Acts 7:10 through 11. And delivered him out of all his afflictions, and gave him favor and wisdom before Pharaoh king of Egypt. He made him governor over Egypt and all his house. Now a famine came over all the land of Egypt and Canaan, and great affliction. Our fathers found no food. Acts 7:12 through 13. But when Jacob heard that there was grain in Egypt, he sent out our fathers the first time. On the second time Joseph was made known to his brothers, and Joseph's race was revealed to Pharaoh. Joseph sent and summoned Jacob, his father, and all his relatives, 75 souls. Acts 7:15 through 16. Jacob went down into Egypt, and he died, himself and our fathers, and they were brought back to Shechem and laid in the tomb that Abraham bought for a price in silver from the children of Hamor of Shechem. Acts 7:17 through 18. But as the time of the promise came close which God had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt, until there arose a different king who didn't know Joseph. The same took advantage of our race and mistreated our fathers, and forced them to throw out their babies so that they wouldn't stay alive. He then described how God used Moses to deliver Israel from Egyptian bondage, and led them for 40 years through the wilderness. Acts 7:20 through 22. At that time Moses was born and was exceedingly handsome. He was nourished 3 months in his father's house. When he was thrown out, Pharaoh's daughter took him up, and reared him as her own son. Moses was instructed in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. He was mighty in his words and works. Acts 7:23 through 25. But when he was 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brothers, the children of Israel. Seeing one of them suffer wrong, he defended him, and avenged him who was oppressed, striking the Egyptian. He supposed that his brothers understood that God, by his hand, was giving them deliverance, but they didn't understand. Acts 7:26 through 27. The day following he appeared to them as they fought, and urged them to be at peace again, saying, "Sirs, you are brothers. Why do you wrong one another?" But he who did his neighbor wrong pushed him away, saying, "Who made you ruler and a judge over us? Do you want to kill me as you killed the Egyptian yesterday?" Acts 7:29 through 30. Moses fled at this saying, and became a stranger in the land of Midian, where he became the father of 2 sons. When 40 years were fulfilled, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in the wilderness of Mount Sinai, in a flame of fire in a bush. Acts 7:31 through 33. When Moses saw it, he wondered at the sight. As he came close to see, a voice of the Lord came to him, "I am the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." Moses trembled and dared not look. The Lord said to him, "Take your sandals off of your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground."